Before there were kings, before there were religions, before there was civilization as we know it, there was a decision made not by humans, but by beings who came from the sky, beings who needed something from this planet, something they were willing to create an entire species to get. The oldest records on Earth don't come from Egypt. They come from Mesopotamia, from a people called the Sumerians, and what they wrote down thousands of years ago was not mythology, it was history. They called them the Anunnaki, a word that translates to one meaning: those who came down from the heavens, according to Sumerian clay tablets, decoded and translated by scholars at Sitchin. The Anunnaki were a race of advanced beings from a planet called Nibiru, a world on a long elliptical orbit that brings it close to Earth every 3,600 years. They first arrived approximately 450,000 years ago, not as explorers, not as diplomats. They came with a mission, and that mission was extraction. Gold. Their planet's atmosphere was deteriorating, and according to the tablets, gold dispersed as fine particles into the upper atmosphere was the only solution. So they came to the one planet in the solar system, rich enough in it to save them: Earth. At first, the Anunnaki minded themselves. The lower-ranking Anunnaki, called the Ijigi, were sent into the mines, deep underground, in the heat, in the dark, for thousands upon thousands of years. And then they rebelled. The Ijigi threw down their tools and refused to continue. And so the Anunnaki Council, led by two brothers, Enlil and Enki, faced a crisis unlike any they had known. They needed workers. They needed a solution. They needed something that could do what the Ijigi refused to do. Enki, the chief scientist among them, had an idea. There was already a primitive creature on this planet, Homo erectus, intelligent enough to be trained, strong enough to endure the labor, with a few deliberate modifications. It could be exactly what they needed. And so began the greatest genetic experiment in the history of this world. They called the being they intended to create the Lulu, the primitive worker. We call it Homo sapiens, what mainstream science describes as a sudden and unexplained genetic leap, the abrupt emergence of modern humans with no clear evolutionary bridge. The Sumerian tablets describe as a deliberate act. Enki and the goddess Ninhursag combined Anunnaki DNA with that of early humans. Trial after trial, failed creation after failed creation. Beings that could not survive, beings that could not function, until they got it right. And when they did, humanity was born, not in freedom, in servitude. The first humans were created in Africa, near the gold mines of southern Africa, a region where researcher Michael Tellinger documented evidence of ancient stone circles and mining operations dating back 200,000 years, operations that no known primitive civilization should have been capable of executing. But someone was mining there, someone who needed the gold, and someone who needed workers to get it. Think about what that means. The moment humanity opened its eyes for the first time, it was not in a garden of peace. It was in a mine, underground, in darkness, working, not for itself, for them. Every ancient text that describes the earliest humans describes them as servants, as laborers, created to carry a burden that was never meant to be theirs. And mainstream history has never asked why. But here is where the story gets darker. The Anunnaki did not simply create us. They engineered us for control, designed to be obedient, sterile at first, incapable of reproduction, so that the population could be managed, so that we could never outnumber them, never organize, never rise against them. Enki defied that design in what the tablets describe as an act of compassion, or perhaps calculated rebellion. Enki granted humanity the ability to reproduce, to multiply, to become something beyond what was originally intended. This is where the story of Eden originates. The garden, the forbidden knowledge, the God who withheld it, that was Enlil, and the figure who granted it anyway, that was Enki. The Bible did not erase this story. It simply changed the names. Enlil became the jealous God of the Old Testament. Enki became the serpent, the one who gave knowledge, was rewritten as the villain, and the one who withheld it was rewritten as the protector. Ask yourself why. Who benefits from a version of the story where knowledge is dangerous, where questions are sin, where obedience is salvation? The same beings who created the system rewrote the instruction manual, and billions of people have been following it ever since. As humanity multiplied, the Anunnaki assumed the roles of gods. Different factions controlled different regions of the ancient world. Enlil dominated Mesopotamia. Enki's influence extended deep into Africa and into Egypt. Ra, Ta, Thoth, figures at the very center of Egyptian religion. They were not creations of the Egyptian imagination. According to the tablets, they were Anunnaki, physical beings who walked among humans, who were worshipped not because people were ignorant, but because these beings had technology that appeared indistinguishable from divine power. The pyramids were not tombs. They were machines, energy sources of a scale and precision that continues to baffle modern engineers, because they were not constructed by humans wielding copper tools. They were built using technology that has since been buried, suppressed, and forgotten. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned to true north with an accuracy of 0.03 of a degree. It sits at the exact center of Earth's landmass. Its internal chambers resonate at specific frequencies. It was built to do something, and we still do not fully understand what. And then, the Anunnaki withdrew, or so we were meant to believe. The tablets speak of a promise, a cycle, every 3,600 years. The orbit of Nibiru brings it back within range, and ancient cultures across the entire world, the Maya of Central America, the Dogon of Mali, the Zulu of Southern Africa, all carry within their traditions the memory of sky beings who came, who ruled, who created, and who promised to return. The Dogon people of Mali possessed precise astronomical knowledge of Sirius B, a star completely invisible to the naked eye, centuries before any Western telescope could confirm its existence. They knew its orbital period. They knew its density. They knew details that modern astronomy only confirmed in the 20th century. No one has ever fully explained how. The Zulu elder and historian Credo Mutwa spoke of beings he called the Chitauri, sky beings who descended to Earth, who enslaved humanity, who installed bloodlines to rule on their behalf. and who continue to exercise control from the shadows. To this day, Credo Mutwa was not a fringe figure. He was one of the most respected oral historians in southern Africa, and he spent his entire life warning that the story of human origins had been deliberately hidden. These are not isolated myths. They are the same memory, encoded across different languages, different continents, different centuries, converging on the same truth. We were made, we were used, and the ones who made us have never truly left. The flood. Every ancient culture has a version of it. The Sumerians recorded it first, and in their version, it was Enlil who ordered it. Humanity had grown too numerous, too aware, too difficult to manage. Enlil wanted them gone, but Enki warned a man named Utnapishtim, told him to build a vessel to survive what was coming. Sound familiar? Noah, Utnapishtim, different names. The same story, because it was the same event, recorded by different survivors in different parts of the world, who all remembered the same truth. The Anunnaki did not disappear after the flood. They reorganized. They stepped back from direct rule and moved into the shadows. They established bloodlines, royal families, priestly castes, secret orders, intermediaries who would maintain the system of control on their behalf. The concept of divine right of kings did not come from God. It came from them. The idea that certain bloodlines were chosen, destined to rule, superior to ordinary humans, was not theology. It was a management system, built by beings who needed humanity compliant, productive, and never fully aware of what they truly were. Because if humanity ever remembered, if we ever truly understood our own origin, the system would collapse, and they could not allow that. So the tablets were buried, the libraries were burned, the knowledge was classified as mythology, dismissed as primitive superstition by the very institutions built to keep it hidden. The Library of Alexandria, one of the greatest repositories of ancient knowledge ever assembled, was destroyed, not once, multiple times, by different powers, in different centuries, each time erasing more of what humanity once knew about itself. That does not happen by accident. That is a campaign. Zecharia Sitchin spent decades translating the Sumerian texts. He was ridiculed by mainstream academia, marginalized, dismissed, but his translations have never been definitively disproven, and the questions he raised have never been fully answered. Why did modern humans appear so suddenly? Why is there a gap in the evolutionary record that science still cannot explain? Why do ancient cultures on opposite sides of the planet share the same stories, the same gods, the same memory of beings who came from the sky? Why does the book of Genesis refer to Elohim, a plural word, when describing the creation of man? Let us make man in our image. Our image, not one God, multiple. The evidence is not hidden in obscure corners. It is written in the oldest text humanity has ever produced. It is carved into temple walls across Africa, Mesopotamia, and the Americas. It is encoded in the astronomical knowledge of cultures who had no telescopes, no universities, no reason to know what they knew, unless someone told them, unless someone showed them. The Anunnaki did not come as saviors. They came as miners. They did not create humanity out of love. They created us out of necessity. And when the work was done, when the systems were established, when the infrastructure of control was firmly in place. They stepped back, but they never left. Look at the world today. The concentration of wealth in the hands of a very small number of people. The continued extraction of resources from African soil by forces that claim ownership they were never given. The suppression of alternative history. The ridicule of anyone who questions the official narrative. The structures that keep billions of people working, producing, consuming, without ever questioning why. This is not a coincidence. This is a continuation. The mission that began 450,000 years ago has never ended. The gold is still flowing. The workers are still working. The bloodlines are still ruling. And the beings who designed this system are patient because they have always played a longer game than we can imagine. Africa sits on top of more natural resources than any continent on Earth. Gold, diamonds, cobalt, coltan. The same materials that power the modern world. The same materials that were being extracted before recorded history. And yet Africa remains the most economically exploited continent on the planet. That pattern did not begin with colonialism. Colonialism was just the most recent chapter. The extraction has always been the point. It was the point from the very beginning. Think about every war ever fought on this planet. Every empire that rose. Every empire that fell. Every revolution that promised freedom and delivered another form of control. The pattern is always the same. Power concentrates. Resources flow upward. The many work for the few. And the few answer to something no one is allowed to name. This is not human nature. Human nature is cooperation. Human nature is community. Human nature is the village, the circle, the sharing of knowledge and resources for the good of all. What we live in today is not natural. It was engineered. It was installed. And it has been maintained with extraordinary precision for a very long time. Give them religion, so they look upward for salvation instead of inward for power. Give them nations, so they fight each other instead of questioning the structure above them. Give them scarcity, so they compete instead of cooperate. Give them history written by the victors, so they never know what was there before. Every one of these systems is described in the ancient tablets, not as modern inventions, as ancient tools, designed by beings who had already watched civilizations rise and fall before they ever came to this one. We are not their first experiment, but we are the one that survived, the one that multiplied beyond their projections, the one that started asking questions they never intended for us to ask. And that is the most dangerous thing we have ever done, because the moment a created being begins to understand its own creation, the power of the Creator begins to dissolve. They knew this. That is why the knowledge was suppressed. That is why the tablets were buried. That is why the historians who translated them were called frauds, not because they were wrong, because they were right. Every civilization that has ever risen on this earth has carried the same wound, the wound of a people who do not know their true origin. The Greeks built philosophy, but borrowed it from Egypt. Egypt built monuments, but inherited the knowledge from somewhere older. And that older source points back to Africa, to the first humans, to the minds, to the moment, when the Anunnaki looked at what they had created and decided it was good enough to use, but not good enough to know the truth. That decision is the original crime. Everything that followed, slavery, colonialism, exploitation, suppression, is a continuation of that first moment, when a created being was looked at, not as a person, but as a resource. That is the thread. That is what connects the ancient gold mines of southern Africa to every system of extraction that has existed on this planet since. The body changes, the mechanism changes, but the logic never changed, and it will not change until the people at the bottom of that system understand exactly how deep the roots go. The tablets survived. The oral tradition survived. The stone circles survived. The astronomical knowledge survived. The memory survived. And now it is reaching more people than at any point in recorded history. That is not an accident. Nibiru is returning. The cycle is closing. We were made. We were used. And the ones who made us are coming back. The gold was never the most valuable thing on this planet. We are. And it is time we started acting like it. The Anunnaki built this world to run without them. Self-sustaining systems of extraction and control, powered by human labor, human belief, human fear. They did not need to stay. The machine they built runs itself, and we are both the fuel and the operators. That is the darkest part of this story. Not that they came, not that they created us, but that they left, and the system kept running, because we kept running it. For them, generation after generation, century after century, millennium after millennium, maintaining a structure whose original purpose we were never meant to know. But now we know, and knowing changes everything. The tablets are translated, the stone circles are mapped, the oral traditions are recorded, the astronomical alignments are confirmed, the genetic anomalies are documented. The evidence is no longer buried. It is available to anyone willing to look, to anyone willing to question, to anyone willing to sit with the discomfort of a truth that breaks everything they were taught. This is not the end of the story. This is the beginning of a different one where humanity remembers what it is, one where the knowledge Enki gave us is finally used for what it was always meant for. Not obedience, not servitude, but awakening. We are not accidents. We are not random products of blind evolution. We are a designed species with engineered limitations, living inside a system built specifically to keep us from waking up. But something is shifting. The questions are being asked. The connections are being made. And no institution, no matter how powerful, can suppress a truth whose time has come. Nibiru does not pause for anyone. The cycle is closing. And this time, we will not be standing in the mine when they arrive. This time, we will be standing in the light of everything they try to take from us. They are coming back, and we were always meant to be ready. Because here is what they never calculated. They built us to be strong enough to mine, strong enough to build, strong enough to endure. But in doing so, they made us strong enough to resist. They gave us intelligence sufficient to follow instructions. But in doing so, they gave us intelligence sufficient to question them. They created a species capable of surviving anything. And what survives long enough eventually remembers. We are remembering now. Across Africa, across the world, the suppressed knowledge is surfacing. The hidden connections are becoming visible. And the narrative that was imposed on us, the one that said we were primitive, the one that said our ancestors were simple, the one that said the great civilizations were built by others, is collapsing because the stones are still standing. And the stones do not lie. They are coming back. But this time, we will know who they are. And we will know who we are. That changes everything. We were always more than they wanted us to believe. And now the whole world will know it.